Welcome to SVG-TV News for Tuesday, August 2nd, 2016. I'm Lafren Fraser with the details. With the theme being Celebrate Deliverance and Repair the Damage, a march and festival was held on Monday, August 1st, 2016, Emancipation Day. The event, which began in Argyle, concluded at the Argyle Primary School with speeches by a number of influential Vincentians on topics of emancipation and the reflection and appreciation of Caribbean history. In her opening remarks, Lucette King, host of the event, noted that as we are not far from slavery, precisely 178 years, we should not try to turn a blind eye to it for the sake of a political party.
Looking closely at the policies that deal with issues such as that which E.G. Lynch had to go through, the three teachers, Addison Bash Thomas, Elvis Daniel, and Kenroy Johnson, Bishop Edmund John, who publicly declared because he didn't allow himself to be shaken down, he was discriminated against or victimized. We want to remember the 85 Port Police who were fired because they exercised their rights. We want to look at Otto Sam, Philip Jackson, Bigger Biggs, who dared to follow in the footsteps of his grandfather. We also want to look at Basil Balcom, and more recently, and Joshua.
Also present at the event, Brother Patches, who argued that if you cannot respect yourself as people of color, then you have no right to exist.
The race that I came from is the mother and father of mankind. So you could talk till you're blue. We have a problem. Black folks have to accept themselves for who they are. Because of the things that is happening now, that is unfolding in the United States, where young black men, and in many instances young black women, are targeted primarily on the color of the skin. They have great professional men in the United States, black like you and me. They are targeted because they're driving a fancy, expensive-looking car, or they drive into a driveway with a fancy-looking house. White police officers think they have no right there, and it's the people's property.
Featured speaker Curtis Daniel took his given opportunity to give the audience a vivid picture of the experiences of the enslaved during their time on the plantations.
A man by the name of Robert Thomas Thistlewood of Jamaica, a British planter, a white man from Britain who went to Jamaica first as an overseer and then gained a plantation. And that man personified cruelty. He recorded a diary and left it. And when you read that diary, believe me, it would give you goosebumps. It talk about Mr. Thistlewood forcing his enslaved Africans to eat his feces, to drink his urine.
How has slavery and emancipation impacted the Vincentian society? This was one of the questions raised on Sunday's Hits Talk radio program, and according to Dr. Deborah Providence, a writer and educator, most of Vincentian history was forgotten because European customs, values, and lifestyles were forced upon us in the past. She stated that Vincentians didn't fight to preserve their original lifestyle, but instead have chosen to adopt a foreign way of living.
I'm not sure that we in St. Vincent have sufficiently reckoned the impact of slavery and colonialism. We sort of just marched right along with the same structures of power and dominance that had oppressed us, that were not designed for us. And I mean the Africans and the East Indians and the indigenous people who were here. We sort of just walked right forward with those systems post-independence. And we've not really stopped to reckon how we've been impacted and what we need to do to address this impact. Language is so important to the way people articulate their identities. It's a link to their cultural history, their their communal selves. And one of the things that was done to the Africans who were brought over, who actually survived the Middle Passage, was total cultural obliteration. The forced insertion into European culture, European language.
Dr. Providence also stated that students are taught primarily history of certain Caribbean islands, while that of other islands, including St. Vincent, are left out. She said that history on St. Vincent should also be taught in local schools so that students can be knowledgeable of their past and thereby help preserve Vincentian history.
We need a comprehensive evaluation. We need to really, and we generally have a lot of knowledge of slavery in the Caribbean because our textbooks focus a lot on Barbados, Guyana, Trinidad, Jamaica. But St. Vincent in particular,
it's very limited.
I remember when I was growing up, when I was studying history, I would go straight to the back where you have the index pages, and try to find St. Vincent, and would see like one-page reference, a paragraph, so that is something that needs to happen for us, and then to have it taught in a way that is dynamic and engaging to students so that they could understand how important it is to get a really authentic sense of what it is to be a Vincentian.
A second international organization has expressed concern over this country's plans to table the cybercrime bill on August 4th before Parliament. On a post on their webpage today, August 2nd, Executive Director Toby Mendel of the Center for Law and Democracy said that while they recognize the need to address harmful behavior online, including in some cases through the criminal law, they were of the view that, quote, it is not legitimate to criminalize defamation and the scope of several of the other crimes as defined in the bill, unquote. The post continued that the Center for Law and Democracy believes that, quote, instead of rushing ahead with seriously problematic legislation, this country should instead build on what they have learned so as to create a more carefully tailored law. The executive director of the Center for Law and Democracy concluded by reiterating that this government should review the cybercrime bill and make necessary amendments to bring it into line with constitutional and international guarantees of freedom of expression. Jomo Thomas said his position on the death penalty drifted after the collapse of the Grenada Revolution. Thomas's statement came as he delivered his introductory remarks for guest speaker Joseph Lane at the University of the West Indies Open Campus Emancipation Lecture on Thursday, July 28th. Thomas explained there was a point in his youthful life when he was the head of the Vanguard organization and was deeply committed to the policies of his organization, adding that his philosophy at the time was that if anyone did not adhere to the organization's policies, he felt that they deserved the death penalty.
His favorite saying when people mourn away from the disciplinary practices was that my most favorite saying was, brother, you deserve to be shot. Because I took my commitment that seriously. And after the collapse of the Grenada Revolution, my position on the death penalty drifted until I eventually thought, as the celebrated United States Supreme Court Justice said, after that case, I committed to myself that I would no longer tinker with the machinery of death. Because I saw in that case where a group of men had gone through a trial that was absolutely unfree and unfair, that did not meet the most basic elementary notions of justice and fair play.
Family and friends of MacGyver Alec, a young man who was adrift at sea for the last 45 days, have expressed joy and relief following his rescue. According to reports, Alec, a 25-year-old resident of Clear Valley, along with one other, left for Martinique on a go-fast on June 13th. However, the two men never returned from the trip, which was expected to take 1 day, and a missing report was filed with the SVG Coast Guard on June 18th. The go-fast, with only Alec on board, was later discovered by a commercial vessel which advised the Jamaican Defense Force of the boat's location. Alec's grandparents, while speaking with SVG-TV News, expressed their heartfelt relief at their grandson's rescue by the Jamaican Defense Force and described a little of their ordeal.
When he left the morning, I did not know anything when he left and going. If somebody come and tell me that they say MacGyver gone me and he was to come back, and up to now they would say him come back. And from that, I take it on very much. Sometimes nighttime I sleep and I just get up, I have to then groan in my husband asks me I groan so far. But just the feelings with MacGyver. So I'm very glad that they find him and he's safe in Jesus' name.
So when 40 days come, the sister say, well, she can go do a candle marching and so on, and they do it, you know, and after they do it now, another Thursday, they do it the Thursday, the 40 days, and another Thursday they find him. So I say, well, is that they did want the light? If they didn't get that candlelight, nobody want to see him. But as the candlelight, they pick him up the other Thursday. So Thursday to Thursday eat. So 48 days, that's good, and that's very good. And we're glad for see him, you know, we're glad for hear they find him.
MacGyver's mother, Annette Alec, declined to comment when contacted by SVG-TV News. The Basil Child's Foundation continues to make its contribution to this country's educational development. During a handing over ceremony earlier today, the foundation made a donation of 5 scholarships and 3 bursaries. Speaking at the handing over ceremony, founder Basil Childs noted the foundation, which was founded in 1995, has made phenomenal strides in its efforts to raise the standards of this nation's educational institutions.
Started in 2010 to help some of the preschools in St. Vincent. So we adopted 14 preschools, which have about 450 kids. We bought 420 cots and distribute to all these preschools. And then we started a nutrition support feeding program for these kids, because some of these preschools did not have proper food during the time they're there. This we're still continuing today, and we are hoping to continue this for as long as possible. I must say, this year I had a look at the reports of the kids who are in secondary school. I think we have 18 kids in secondary school across St. Vincent, and I was very pleased with the report. I mean, some of the reports were amazing.
Meanwhile, the Basil Childs Foundation has awarded a 5-year scholarship to Michaela Kerr, who is expected to depart the Vincentian shores for Taiwan, as she will pursue studies in the areas of medical laboratory science and biotechnology. One grandparent expressed her gratitude, having received a donation for her granddaughter, who she said has fulfilled her dreams of attending the St. Vincent Girls High School. She further urged students to remain focused with a single goal in mind to succeed.
Parents, we are here this morning. We are very thankful, and I would like to encourage you, get behind the kids. Most of them can do the work, but sometimes they want to idle. Get to the iPad, get to the phone, get to the whatever device they can get to, the TV and those kinds of things. You know what I just tell Marika? Those people who make these things, you know, they went to school too, they have to get their part, and now is your time. Don't get too caught up with these devices. Sometimes I know she used to be mad with me, but I will still get behind her. So children, put away TV a little while, put away the iPad and all the other things, and get into your book. Before you go to bed, make sure you give God thanks and praise. When you get up in the morning, even though you can't pray long, to say thank you, Jesus, for waking me up alive and well. When you go to school, walk well with your peers. Those that you see who are not interested, put them aside.
put them away and just study up. Don't let anyone influence you. Be yourself.
Thus far, the Basil Charles Foundation has donated 136 full-time scholarships and 78 bursaries. The Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation has for the second year contributed to the educational process of 6 primary school students who were successful at the 2016 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Examination. SVG-TV's Nikita Tony attended the foundation's annual Scholarships and Bursaries Award ceremony earlier today and filed this report.
Recognizing the hard work of primary school students across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation hosted its second annual Scholarship and Bursary Award ceremony, where 6 students who will be entering secondary school in September were rewarded for their excellent performance in the 2016 Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Examinations. Highlighting that the scholarship program seeks to assist students in need to better prepare for their schooling, member of the Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation, Dr. Adrian Fraser, noted that because of the general outstanding performances of the students, it was difficult to narrow down the 2016 awardees.
Last year, we established the Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation. Mrs. Keyser was a leading educator in St. Vincent Grenadines. She had been principal of the girls' high school for quite a long time. And the board that produces Searchlight, since after she had finished working as a teacher, she was the editor of the Searchlight newspaper, and we took a decision to establish this foundation in her honor. The competition is usually very tight because we have to balance between needs and also the person's ability. So we have selected our 2 scholarship winners, but there's also a third one because there is a private individual who is a graduate of the Gomi Methodist School, and he has offered to provide a scholarship for a student from the Gomi Methodist School. So although it is not from the Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation itself, it is coming under the auspices of the Scholarship Foundation.
Dr. Fraser further urged the awardees to take advantage of their opportunity as they have been placed in a better position to achieve great educational success.
Part of the reason why we give this scholarship, that we know there is a need. What we do is to monitor the students' performance, so we try to get from the school, and I think it's indicated in the letter, to ensure that the student does well. In situations where we could assist the student if there are any problems, we will do so. But parents, we urge you to encourage the student to make sure that they take advantage of the opportunities which they're given. We hope that your students will put everything into what you're doing and make sure that you stay at the top of your class.
Parents who attended today's event also took the time to express their gratitude towards the Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation for their contribution.
I just want to say I'm so grateful. I just want to thank the board for nominating Tabia, and I know she would not waste the money. She would do good, and I know I will be behind her so that she will do her best.
I just want to say thanks to each and everyone for bringing a helping hand and to reach out to Ronaldo, and I will make sure that he study his book.
And he went to secondary school and grateful for him, and I think he's a foundation for the journey help. I pray God blessing upon them for it. And we continue this stream. I thank you very much.
And I promise that I will look forward to see Zola doing well in her education, and it's been a lot to me. Thank you for your help.
The 2016 Norma Keys Scholarship Foundation Full Scholarship awardees were Ayosa Stapleton and Delroy Ashton, while Zola Fraser received the Alfred Fraser Full Scholarship Award for a student from the Gomi Methodist School. 3 one-off bursary awards were also presented to Ronaldo John, Tamia Webb, and Joshua Richardson. Reporting for SVG-TV News, I am Nikita Tony.
Revelers had their final lap of Vincy Mas 2016 on the Grenadine island of Canouan over the weekend. The event climaxed with a new queen being crowned, who took most of the categories and partying from sunrise to the break of dawn. SVG-TV News' Nolisha Miller filed this report.
Miss Botany Kalisha Henry was crowned Miss Rural SVG 2016 in the Canouan Carnival festivities on Saturday, July 21st. Henry also took the Best Talent, Best Evening Wear, Best Interview, and Miss Photogenic titles. She took the opportunity to thank everyone who was rooting for her.
At this moment, I am very elated with my win, and I'm very satisfied with my performance tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all of my supporters. Without you, this would not have been possible.
Miss South Leeward Nelisa Parsons was first runner-up and took the Best Swimwear category.
Number 4, Miss St. George's Brittany Oliver.
Number 5, Miss South Leeward Nelisa Parsons.
Number 6, Miss South Windward Zonay Seymour.
And contestant number 7, Miss Southern Grenadine.
Second runner-up was Miss North Windward Kamisha Boynes. The other contestants were Miss St. George Brittany Oliver, Miss North Leeward Ronella Lampkin, Miss South Windward Zonay Seymour, Miss Southern Grenadines Chantal DeRoche. The event took place at Club Nuevo and was the 17th edition of Canouan Carnival, which was dubbed the ultimate summer event in the Grenadines. Visitors and locals were engaged in activities from Monday, July 25th to Monday, August 1st. Canouan Carnival has been the only post-Vincy Mas activity of its kind in SVG. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.